All right, last problem we're going to take a look at here. This problem we're going to have to use the calculator for. And what we're going to do is that we have a table there, but what we're not sure about is we're not sure how it's changing. I mean, we could see that it's going down, but we're not sure, like, is that down 10%, 15%? Well, so we're going to have the calculator help us out with that. We do know that this is measured in time. And the situation here, by the way, is you take a drink of caffeine. And, just like with anything you put into the body, is that eventually after a while the body processes it out, so it doesn't stay, the full concentration of it doesn't stay in there forever. So that's what you're seeing with the numbers that are in this table, right? I've got to go up to 6. I'm going to spread this out a little bit. So I'm going to say 1, and then I'm going to skip 1, just so I could spread out my graph a little bit so it's not all crammed up close. Right, so I'm going to spread that out. And then as far as, what would I label my y's on the right side? I need to be able to go up to 250, and at the lowest I see that it goes is 98. And, so if we said, I don't know how many squares we got here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, well, so what if we, we could count by something like 20s. And it doesn't, there's no right or wrong here. You're just kind of picking a scale that would make sense. So, I don't know, let's say 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 400. And, we're counting by 20s, but I don't have to put, right in every little 20 just so we kind of keep the graph looking a little clean. So 249, so if we're just constructing a scatter plot here. 249, well, there's 300. Let's count back, or we can start at 200, right? That would be 220, that would be 240, that would be 260, so 249 would be right about there. And this doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because we're kind of sketching this, so we just want to kind of know the general idea of what this would look like. And then it says 2 would be 206. Well, that would be just a little bit above 200. And then 3, 171. So there's 100, 120, 140, 160. So maybe right around there. And 4 says 142. So there's 100, 20, 40. 5 says 118. So 5, here's 120. So it would just be a little bit below that. And then 6 says 100. So we'd be kind of right there. So if you take a look at the general shape of it, you might say, well, it kind of looks like a line. But I think what you see is that there's this kind of drop off, right, and it's kind of flattening out there. So we'd say that does represent an exponential curve. This would continue to decrease, by the way. So I know it looks like we're saying that it's flattening out. Eventually, the caffeine would get out of the body. So eventually, that would get much lower. Right? All right, but so like I said, this graph didn't have to be perfect. We want the calculator really to help us out with this. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take the numbers from the table, and then we're going to put that into the calculator. Now, we've done a bunch of stuff on the calculator, and who knows what's all in there. So the first thing we need to do is reset the calculator. How we do that is you go to second, so the blue button there, and then right above the plus sign it says MEM for memory. So we'll do second memory. We'll hit 7 because what we're wanting to do is reset. We want to reset the whole thing, so we'll hit 1. And then yes, we do want to reset, so we'll hit 2. And then once you've done that, it'll say RAM cleared, meaning we've started the calculator over. So now to put in the numbers, we're going to go to Stat, and then Edit, and you'll see 2 columns, L1 and L2. So L just stands for list. So this will be our L1. This will be our L2. And so I'm just going to type it in. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then for L2, I'm going to type in the amount of milligrams of caffeine, 249, 206. So I'm just pretty much just taking the table they gave me, and I'm recreating that table in the calculator. If you make a mistake on this, you see that I did. I typed in 1771. Just type over it. Go back to where you made the mistake. Type over it. Hit enter. It'll replace it. 142. Next number 118 and 98. Alright, so we got our table in there. Now what we're wanting the calculator to do is come up with an equation that's describing what's happening here. So what we're going to do and how we're going to come up with that is that we're going to go to stat. And by the way, if we want to verify, kind of take another look at our curve that we came up with, we can also take a look at the graph. If we go to y equals, and we're doing a scatter plot, so we're gonna have to turn the plot on. So you just do the up arrow, turn the plot on. It's darkened out, and then the type of graph that we're wanting to graph, if you go to zoom, is that we're wanting to. It's a statistical graph. So you have to go down to zoom 9, where it says zoom stat, and there we go. And that picture, pretty closely matches up to what we came up with, right? Now that we didn't have to do that for this problem necessarily. We just wanted to kind of compare our graph with the calculator's graph. Now, going back to our numbers. So I hit stat, edit. I've got my numbers in there. I'm good. So going back out to the main stat menu, now I want it to calculate something. What do I want it to calculate? Well, I want it to calculate, and you should have seen this before. Well, this isn't a line, so we're not doing a linear regression. What we want to calculate is, because we're saying this is exponential, you want to do 0. So we want to do an exponential regression. So if I hit enter, it then gives me an equation. And so for part B, we're going to write that equation down. So I've got y is equal to, and it says 299. We probably could have rounded that to 300 because that's probably what it started with. But so we'll go with what the calculator's got, 299, and then it says 0.83. And I'm just rounding to, again, thinking about money. I'm just going to round to 83 cents, so 0.83, and then that would be to the t, right, for time. So to interpret what this is saying, is it's saying that we're starting off with 299 milligrams of caffeine, and then that number is less than 1, so that means that we know that it's decaying. We already knew it was decaying because we could, well, 1, look at the graph, and 2, look at the table. What is it decaying by? 1 minus what would have given you 83, 0.83? Well, it'd be 17, right? So 17%. And then we're making a prediction about the future. How much caffeine would still be in the body after 10 hours? Well, so I'm just going to take the equation that I just came up with, 299 times 0.83, and then I'm going to raise that to, because we're saying 10 hours, I'm going to raise it to the 10th power. So let's throw that back into the calculator. So if I throw that back into the calculator, I've got 299 times 0.83, raise the roof to the 10th power. So I get 46.39. So we'll do a little squiggly here because we're estimating or rounding 46.39 milligrams of caffeine. Right, and obviously as more time passes, that would continue to decrease and then decrease. Right. All right, so before you move on to the next problem, let's make sure, because you're going to have to kind of erase what you've done so far here in the calculator. So what happens is that to be able to do the next problem, go back to stat, and because you're gonna have to put in new numbers. So if what you do there is that if you go to L1 and you just hit clear, don't hit delete, hit clear, it'll clear out the columns there for you so that you can put in new numbers. The alternative is that you could also just do the second memory 712 and that'll also reset the whole calculator. So let's go ahead and stop the video now and try number 10 on the right side.